Do you know what this is? This is a set of badmintons. I don't know if you ever play that game. It's a two-player badminton racket set. I bought this at Target. I just got it today. You're probably wondering, why am I showing you this right here? You really will know at the end of the story. What I'm about to tell you is it's a real story about the miracles of God and what God can do for you. It's a true story what I'm about to say. I know one thing for sure, and God says, follow my commands and I will give you the desires of your heart. And I would say hallelujah to that. Trust me in that. My name is George Tannous, and I am a former IRS agent, former BitBay.com CEO, and a convicted felon. I came to this country at the age of 14 with my mother and two sisters. Sadly to say, I'm filming this, today is December 10th, 2016. My mother passed away January 2nd of this year, and my sister, my younger sister, God bless her, passed away, maybe a couple of months ago, unfortunately. So I came here at the age of 14, went to school, tried college, didn't like it after high school. So I started working and dabbling a little bit here, a little bit there with different things, from working at gas stations, making pizza. My dream was, okay, I like the gas station business, someday I'll own a gas station. So at the age of 21, my uncle came to visit us. He said, what are you doing? I said, I'd like to buy a gas station. He said, how much money do you need? I said, maybe 10 grand. He said, okay, I'll give it to you. All right. So I took the 10 grand. I bought a Union 76. I was the youngest gas station owner at that time. I'm 6 years old today, by the way. So this went on for 3 years. Things happened where they needed to modify the street. They tear it down. After they tore it down, rebuilt it 6 months under construction. I was pretty much out of money, so I had to sell it and get out. I was broke. Then I decided, let me see what I can do. So I ventured out and I took a look at things and I thought, credit repair. People need to have their credit established. I studied that and I opened up a business and it went well. I sold the branch and I decided with a friend that was a business partner to move to Michigan, open up another one. Because back then the economy was bad, it was bouncing back, so people needed to reestablish their credit. So we did that. Little did I know that other people wanted what I had going, so pretty much I left the state, came back to California again. That's where I live, the Los Angeles area. Here I am, a failure again. So then, by that time I was married. I decided, okay, what can I do now? So I started working selling solar. I thought, this is not bad. This is back in 1984. Then I opened up my own. I became a success. I was 28, 29 years of age, making tons of money. 1985, the solar tax credit ended, so did my business. So here we go again. Now what do we do? So I told my wife, I'd like to become a lawyer. How about if we go to Denver, Colorado, you study nursing, and then we can come back here to, we're living in Canyon Lake at the time, in Riverside County. Come back here, you can work, and I'll go to school to become a lawyer. We thought it's a great deal. Packed the two kids, and we had a little house, we sold it, we ended up with 10 grand at the time. And here we go, off to Denver, Colorado we go, not knowing anybody. Unfortunately, my ex-wife now, she started the schooling, but she did not succeed at it a couple of times. I decided to go to school to study accounting. So I did do that. And thank God in 2.5 years, I finished with my bachelor's. Then we decided to move back. That's where the family is. So we'll come back here. If you're looking at this video and my eye is drooping here, this is because I had a third nerve damage. And thank God it's bouncing back and it's healing now. I really give glory to Him for that. So we came back to the Los Angeles area, to my mother's house. She lived in Tahanga at the time. My ex-wife got a job in the medical field, and here I am with a bachelor's degree in accounting, didn't know what to do. So my mother had a Subway sandwich shop. I went and helped her out, and while I tried to find something, and I applied to the IRS, the Internal Revenue Service, and they hired me as an agent. Wow. So I said, wow, look at me now. And I become an IRS agent. So I worked for them for 2 years. I studied tax law. I did many audits, corporations, individuals, partnerships. Then I decided, well, I've always been an entrepreneur, so let me go ahead and venture on my own, and I will open up a tax business. I'll do bookkeeping, and I will do income tax returns, and after that point, we'll see what happens. So I opened up my tax business, George Tannous and Affiliates Inc., former IRS agent. Started out in that, and it went really well. It became a hit. I started doing television commercials, radio commercials. So I became kind of famous a little bit, you know. Making good money. I was young. But I was drinking. I was drinking a lot of scotch. I mean, you name it, I drank every night, 6 o'clock. I used to tell people, no, I'm not an alcoholic, but I did drink. And at that time, when we were in Denver, we had our third child, Sarah. So now we have 3 children, Nicole, Rachel, and Sarah. I'm making good money. My ex and I, we didn't get along. We weren't getting along. Too many things has happened, so we filed for a divorce, and I left. Walked away. And at that time, I represented a person. His name is, I'm going to call him DD. I don't want to mention his name. His name is Donald. He came to me, I represented him before the IRS. He said, hey, I like your business. Why don't we open up many branches? I'll raise money for you, and we can take it public. I said, great. So I'm into myself again. Look at me. I'm really going to be a big shot. And at the time, I get a call from a congressman's wife, Congressman Wester Cooley from Oregon. He's being audited. And they would like me to go represent him for the IRS. And I said, wow, now I'm really becoming full of myself. Drinking, money in the pocket. So I represented him, and he said, what are you doing? I told him, well, I met this guy. We're going to take my business public. He said, we can raise money and open up many branches. I said, okay, let's do it. That was back in 1998. So at that time, I was dating a girl named Yvonne at the time, after I left my other wife, my ex-wife Jane. She was helping me out a lot, and we decided to kind of hook up. And at that time, in 1998, Donald Dyer, Michael Berman, they worked for me. I mean, they were raising money for me. I knew nothing about stock. They raised thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars, and we opened up like 6 different branches to represent people. We thought, we're going to become the next H&R Block, and lo and behold, the IRS in 1998 decided not to do any audits, freeze, to become a better IRS. Now we need to do something. I've got lots of money that we invested from shareholders, and I'm not about to go bankrupt and let them all down. So I was looking around to switch. What can we do? At the time, my oldest daughter liked basketball. She played on the high school team and all that, and I wanted to get her some Lakers tickets. So somebody told me, hey, go to eBay. eBay sells tickets. So I said, okay, let me check this out. I'm not a computer savvy with the internet, and I bought tickets. And then I'm looking around and I saw the name called BidBay.com, and I thought, hey, I can compete with these people. They made it. They're public. Look at their stock. So I'll start BidBay.com. I told the congressman and Donald Dyer to raise more. What do they think? They said, hey, I think we can do it. And they went out with it. And lo and behold, people loved the idea. And we started BidBay. I hired techies and programmers. And we grew so big. We had like 4.2 million members. We were growing so rapid and doing really good. And we hired a CPA firm to do our audited financials. We had a securities lawyer that was looking after everything, filing the SB2 filing, so we can become public to open at $10 a share. And at that time, I owned 6 million shares, 60 million, I'm sorry, so that's $600 million. The minute we opened to go public, wow, I remember those days. And then this 911 hit. We were approved by the SEC, the Securities and Exchange Commission, October 24th, 2001, right after 911. The stock market was crashing, nothing was going on, and we were doomed. So I said, oh boy, we've raised so many millions of dollars, and now we're gonna be out. So we decided, okay, fine, we are in a quiet period. So we had, I had established a website called AskGT.com, similar to what Google.com is today. I told the congressman, listen, we can't raise money because we're in the quiet period. We need to go public with this. So buy AskGT.com from us, raise money for it. It's making money. It can make a lot of money in the future. I mean, look at Google.com today, my goodness. And then pay us $2 million as you raise it each week until we find a market maker that will take us. So we did. Mr. Cooley, the congressman, decided with D. Elroy Beeler, a guy that raises money, to go out and tell people that to buy stock on AskGT.com, and that it's the same company as BidBay.com. Buy the stock at $1 a share. eBay is going to buy us at $25 a share. So there's a dentist in Missouri that invested $750,000 that didn't believe what was going on, and he decided, him and his buddies decided to file a lawsuit against us. That was the end of that. We did have a market maker, Public Securities, to take us public. I had to tell them it's a material event. We're being sued for fraud. They backed out. So here I am. That's back in 2002. Time went on. I came down with Bell's palsy. My face was paralyzed at one time. And trying to make ends meet, I finally told Donald Dyer, here, you take it, you run it. I can't deal with this anymore. I'll probably be better off to go and run my own business into the tax business. In the meantime, we were looking around to see what we can do, and we discovered that there isn't much of dog grooming schools in the Los Angeles area. There was a big one back in Pennsylvania. So we decided to put her through school, and then we opened up Wag My Tail, which is a grooming salon and a grooming school back in 2004. And we thought, hey, maybe we can take this one public. Make a long story short, I don't want to bore everybody. And in the meantime, I decided to establish a company called Lahu.com I was looking at Match.com and I said, hey, that will be great. Lavu.com can be a dating website. We can involve Wag My Tail, do clothing, Wag My Tail behind shirts, pants, dating site, make lingerie, all that stuff. And we established the Lavu dating game. You can find some episodes on YouTube, Lavu.com. And then in 2006, an old employee of mine called me up and she said, George, I think you're in trouble. I said, oh wow, why? She said, a couple of FBI agents came asking me questions about you, about the tax business, and about BitBay.com. This girl used to work for me and she was our accountant. I said, well, I guess I will hear from them shortly. So here I am in the office one day, and here comes a gentleman and a lady, and dressed up, suit. She's well dressed as well. Their badges are out. Hi. I said, you know, folks, come on in. I was expecting you. So I sat down with them. They said, you sure you don't want to have an attorney present? I said, no, I have nothing to lie about. So they said, okay, and like for 3-4 hours, I just told them how I met was Cooley, how the fraud that they committed, and how Donald Dare just kind of raised money, didn't know how to take us public, but a lot of promises. I knew nothing about stock, and I really don't know what to do. He said, well, that's good. He said, cooperate with us, and I'm pretty sure that the U.S. Attorney's Office, the Department of Justice, will try to be lenient. And I thought, okay. So I hired a lawyer, and we talked what's going on with the Assistant U.S. Attorney, the prosecutor, and he said, well, we're looking at tax fraud, we're looking at securities fraud, we're looking at money laundering, we're looking at 28 years. He's the principal. They raised $9 million, lots of amount, lots of money, and we're going to go after him. So I thought to myself, my goodness, 28 years. That's back in 06, what, 10 years ago? It's like in 07. So at that time I was like 51. Talk about the spirit of fear hitting me. God, I lay down in bed for days, and all I could do was just all that fear inside of me, just God help me. And I started getting close to God. And I started reading the Bible, and I said, my God, I don't know where I've been, made a lot of money in my life, but I never gave to you. You blessed me. I didn't bless anybody else. I didn't follow your commands. I said, but God, rid me from this cup, because I started reading what happened to Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane, and I thought, oh my goodness, I'm experiencing all that, you know. So this attorney, and at that time I joined the church at Rocky Peak. I started volunteering and helping, and I also created a website called God Generational Curse. I thought about, wow, am I cursed? And it was about people coming to tell us about their problems, and everybody can pray for everybody. But that changed. Today it's called postmyprayer.com. People can tell us what they have wrong and what happened to them, and we'll pray for them. So everybody, the whole community, can pray for one another. But coming back to what happened there with the prosecutor, and that attorney I hired, the first guy, was kind of arrogant, and I was so scared I didn't feel comfortable. So I started thinking, I thought, God, maybe I'll go back to Lebanon. That's my first thought. But then how am I going to live? What am I going to do? My kids are here, my mom is here, my friends, I grew up here since the age of 14. I said, maybe we can do something. So I started looking around, and I find I found another law firm, and that one attorney said, well, let me talk to them. So he talked to the prosecutor. He said, George, they're going to go after you big, so my firm will require a $200,000 retainer. I said, I don't have that kind of money. He said, I understand. And he referred me to somebody who was just a prosecutor, and he went on his own. So I went to him. His name is Jim Spurtus. He became my lawyer for a small fee of $25,000. He said, I'll go ahead and represent you just to get you the lowest sentence we can get for you. I said, I would really appreciate that. So he did well, and the prosecutor, when I met with him, with my new attorney, he said, Mr. Tannous, I just want to tell you, you made the right choice by getting somebody else involved. And I knew, but that other attorney was kind of arrogant, and it didn't do well. So he said, okay, we're gonna tell me what happened with the people that worked with you, was Cooley, Wheeler, Dayer, and just let me know the whole story, and we'll see what we can do, and I will have everything ready for you to sign. This was on a Wednesday. He said, I'll have everything ready for you to sign, so we're going to reach a plea agreement on Friday, so we don't go through trials. And if you don't sign it, then on Monday I'm going to go arrest your wife. By that time I was married to Yvonne, and your sister, Doris, she worked with Dayer at some point in time. And I said, no, I'm not going to put them underneath the bus and let them go through this pain and agony. I will go ahead and do whatever you like me to do. So he gave me an 8-year sentence. And I started thinking, and my brain just nonstop. Every morning I wake up, I'm in the shower, I go to bed, I go to work. I'm thinking 8 times 12 is 96 months. I get a month and a half a year for good behavior, so I can be out in, I don't know, 6.5 years. By that time, hopefully my wife is here and things can be okay. She went to church. She was a passionate Christ follower. So then I signed the agreement. That was in 2008. I surrendered my passport. They never arrested me. I just went down and had them take my pictures and take my fingerprints. I guess you call it an arrest, but they never came and handcuffed me and carried me in the FBI car. Thank God, I was so scared of that, terrified. So somebody had mentioned to me that RDAP is a good thing to take when I'm in prison, because then they can reduce my sentence by 1 year. So during my sentence, now we have the sentence day came. That was, I think, March 2012. I finally couldn't take it. It's just they kept prolonging and prolonging my sentence because they were going after Cooley and after Wheeler, and I don't know what they were doing. And I finally said to my lawyer, I can't take it anymore. Let me just go in. Now I'm looking at 8 years, so I lived in pain for 5 years, awaiting all this. So I went to my sentence, and I remember standing there before the judge, and I remember just looking down. I couldn't look at anybody, and I was saying, God, send me your angel army, because you are God of the angel armies. Let them come here and let nothing touch me, O Lord. Talk to the judge. Yeah, but that's my God in Arabic. And let them give me, just dismiss this case. And I felt the Spirit of God in me, but at the end, the judge looks at me and says, you know, they're seeking 96 months. But what I'm going to recommend is I'm going to give you 33 months, and I'm going to recommend RDAP for you. And to go to Lompoc camp, prison camp. It's a white-collar crime, and I thought, okay, 33 months, take away about 4.5 months and another 12 months for RDAP, so I'll be in and out in a year and a couple of months. So now comes the time to go surrender to the prison. I was sentenced to surrender myself May 12th, 2012, or May 10th, somewhere around there, to Long Park. So my wife Yvonne at the time, my sister Gilda, and her husband Raymond took me there. I got out of the car and I went to the medium. They had the medium, they had the low prison federal, and they had the camp across the street. And I look at the tower and there's people with guns looking down, and just terrified and crying. And I went inside and I said, I'm here to turn myself in. They said, welcome. So I went inside now. I'm terrified, I'm crying. Let me take a break here. We'll cut later. Hello folks, I took a little break. I went and got a cup of coffee just to rest a little bit. So here I am, I'm back to finish the story. So I went inside the office where the tower was, and I said, my name is George Tannous, I'm here to surrender. They said, okay, come on in. So they take me in. They put me in a holding tank, a holding cell. I was so scared. Then they brought me out and they gave me green clothes to wear, prison clothes, took my clothes. They said they will ship them to my house, my jewelry. They did let me, they didn't even, I could keep my ring, my wedding ring, but not my cross, my gold cross. Took my picture, my fingerprints and all that, and then I met a guy in the cell, Mike, nice guy. We talked, and a guy comes and he says, now I'm going to take you to the camp. We got there. Once we got there, they introduced us to the counselor, the person that will be in charge of me at the time. And he assigned me a bed. It's like a big old place. It holds 100, the place where I was at, like 160 inmates. They had bunk beds, so I was on top in the corner, terrified, just terrified. And then come what they call chow time, so I walked over to the cafeteria and I thought, let me see if I can eat. And I looked at the food that they were serving, everybody's eating, and it's like nothing is going on like they're at home. And I just couldn't. I just couldn't. I couldn't deal with anything like that. 95% of the prisoners were drug dealers. They still treated them as white-collar crime. So I had to register for RDAP, Residential Drug and Alcohol Program. So I can attend for 9 months, and by attending I can get time off. It's a very strict program and many people fail. Those that pass will get the time off. And soul psychology is behavioral modification. The one thing nice about Lompoc is we were nestled in a, like, how can I explain it? It's by the beach, it's by Vandenberg Air Force Base. Cold, but nice. We had a tennis court, I'm sorry, I wished. We had a basketball court. We had a beautiful track we can walk. It's like 2.5 miles around the whole thing. Baseball field. And they had a library. So it wasn't so bad. We were able to use a computer just to send out emails. So I decided while I'm there, I'm going to study for my PhD in Christian counseling. I'll take the time out. I remember that first day I went out on the track and I walked around the track and I said, Lord, I said, God, here I am finally. I'm just going to surrender to you. I just want to be a burning forest fire, Lord, for you, so I can bring glory to your name, God, so I can get close to you and talk about you to many of the prisoners, because I had read about the prisoners and it's God's biggest harvest. Many of them are lonely and they have nobody and they're just there. And I know people on the outside, they say, oh, they're criminals. They deserve it. But that's really not true, because if you remember when Jesus was telling the parable, he said, the goats came to him and they said, oh Lord, they're boasting, we knew you and we talked about you and we gave to the poor and we did this in your name. And Christ looked at them and he said, go away from me, I never knew you. And then the sheep came to him and they said, oh Christ, I wish we knew you. And Christ looked at them, he said, you know, when I was sick you came to visit me, and I was hungry and you fed me, and I was in the prison and you visited me. So I took the prison ministry very serious. I still do today. I'm setting up something called adoptaninmate.com. That way we can send them maybe $20 a month for hygiene, you know, toothpaste, maybe some soap, maybe a bag of potato chips, some stamps too. Believe it or not, like after 2 years to 5 years, they get forgotten by their family and friends. I experienced some of that after a year. So here I am there, and I'm walking around the track, and I just pray every day. And then we get to work, so they took me to the Air Force Base. I worked chopping trees, wood for firewood. I filled out my app for RDAP. And I started asking people if they need prayer. I would read the Bible nonstop, and I would say, God, what do you want me to do? And I'll be walking, and it's like there's a guy there, and I'll say, okay, Lord, you want me to go pray for him? Okay, I get it. And I will go there and I'll say, hey, for some odd reason, do you mind if I pray for you? Tell me what's on your mind. And everybody would say, yes, please do. Sometimes they'll say, oh no, I'll get too embarrassed. Can we go in the library so nobody will see? I'll say, sure. But in the middle of everywhere, I would put my hand on them, raise my hand in the air and just pray for them. I told God, I'm going to be a burning forest fire and I'm going to fulfill that. Then I had a friend of mine named Mike in there, and he was a very good religious person and good Christian man. I said, pray for me so I can get accepted in RDAP, and he did. And other people did. They laid hands on me, and my name was on the list 2 months later. So I thought, fantastic. I'll go in 9 months. Hopefully I can get out then. I'll finish. RDAP is a different location. It's up the street from the main camp, and all they house is just RDAP people. There's 160 inmates in there. So I got in there, and we hold each other accountable for everything that we do wrong, and we have to do a pull-up at the meeting every morning if we do something wrong. If we don't hold the door for somebody as they're walking in behind us, if we don't take off our beanie hat, if we go to the cafeteria, somebody will hold me accountable, and I'll have to tell the community what it is that I did, how I intend to rectify it. There's 8 core attitudes, criminal thinking errors, and rational thinking errors, and other things. There's like 40 different things. And I did become the chairman of the RDAP tutors committee at one point to help everybody there, which was great. At the at that camp, I look at the sky and there's the vulture eagles. I don't know if you remember, if you know what they look like, but I'll put a picture here for you, and there's a video below here on the website. Now I look at the sky and I see them flying. They're like angels, and I would say, I say, God, I'll see him at a distance, and I'm walking the track, and I'll say, Lord, here he is. He's over there. Can you bring him above me? And lo and behold, the bird will come and fly above me as I'm watching it. They like flap their wings. And I'll be listening to gospel music in my ears. We were allowed to buy that thing. And then all of a sudden, I'll be looking at the sky and there'll be 8 of them, and they will be playing in the air up above, gliding and falling. And what a show that God had given me. That's a big miracle for me. I know he's watching out for me. And then one day, I'm talking to my wife on the phone, and she says, I'm sending you a letter. It's a big, lengthy letter. And I said, okay. What do you want? What's in it? She won't tell me. I did get it, and she's telling me she wants out. She wants a divorce. And her lawyer did come to the camp and serve me with papers while I was in RDAP. Worst thing anybody can do to anybody. I need to finish RDAP so I can get time off, and with this thing now on my mind, it was so bad. But while we're going to RDAP, we also need to work. So thank God he put me in I got a job down at the farm, and I was driving a tractor. And I would lay down the big pipes and water the fields. So it was beautiful, and I look up at the skies with the birds, and I see the hawks. And I would tell God, bring them above me, and they will come. It's so amazing. And I'm into the Bible every day and spiritually with God. And I said, Lord, can you bring me a white feather? I told my friends that, yeah, I asked God for it. I tell him about the birds, and he brings them to me. And I'm still praying for people, by the way, everywhere I go. And I asked him for a white feather. So a month later on a rock, I'm looking, and I see a white thing, and I walk over there, and it's a white feather. I said, thank you, God. I never doubted that you won't. But can you send me a pink one? Pink feather. Told my friends, I said, yeah. This time I asked them for a pink feather, and they would laugh at me and say, you crazy. Where are you going to get a pink feather in the middle of nowhere? I said, well, it's simple. I told God, just have a big truck filled with flamingo birds going to the Flamingo Hotel in Las Vegas, break down. Some odd reason, the birds will get loose. They escape from the truck, and they'll come here, and they're pink, and I'll get their feathers. It was so funny how many times I used to tell God, God, can you make it happen? I know you can make anything happen. So, make a long story short, I would go out with my Bible, I study, I talk to him nonstop, day, night. And the one thing I did is I would say the Lord's Prayer nonstop throughout the whole day before I ask of anything or give thanks of anything. You gotta give thanks. You gotta follow his command, and he'll give you the desires of your heart. The biggest desire I had back then was just to be so close to him. I knew I was gonna leave the fields and everything. I used to tell him, God, I'm gonna leave, and I'll probably forget you, you know. The Holy Spirit was just too powerful at that time. So I'm driving in the tractor, and I asked him for a pink feather, and the farm is next to the dairy. We housed a lot of cows. They used to milk, and where the pipes were parked, that I would take my tractor with this trailer behind it where I laid the pipes on it to take them to the field to water. We had like, I don't know how many, 150, I don't know how many acres, thousands of acres. They grew all this corn for the cows to feed. And there's a big pile of manure, all the cow manure, and even when the cow dies, they put their body there, and then you'll see like, skeleton of cows. It's funny. So one day, I'm driving to park my tractor and the trailer, and a pink object in the middle of the manure, cow manure, took my eye, grabbed my sight. I said, what is this thing? So I ran there and I picked it up. And it's a plastic thing. And I said, what is this, Todd? It's pink, but I don't get it. So now, I know this is white, and this is plastic, right? So I'm looking at it, right? I said, what is this thing? It's all pink. And I look here, and I said, oh my God, they're all feathers. So I said, thank you, God. I asked you for a pink feather, but I never thought you'd give it to me in the middle of a bunch of cow shit. I'm sorry for my word. So I didn't want to take the whole thing with me out of prison when I left because it might be considered contraband. But I decided that I will clip a couple of feathers and I carried them with me in my wallet wherever I go. So here they are, pink feathers. What a miracle, I remember even one day early in the morning, got up and walked outside and I look up at the sky and there's some clouds, and the cloud formation was pink and one of them was like a feather. So when you ask God for a miracle, just press on, tell him that's what you want. But you have to remember to follow his commands and he'll give you the desires of your heart. If you ever need to ask me any questions, please do. It's george@mypinkfeather.com. And there I will talk about some of adoptaninmate.com. I would appreciate your help as well. Stay in the faith, folks. Oh, by the way, about my education, I did study for it. I'm finishing my book to get my PhD in Christian counseling. Amen to that, huh? Thank you for listening to me. I wish you the best. May God bless you.